Hi everyone, it's Laura here for Studio Katia, and in today's video I will show you how to make a friendship card with the citrus trimming stamp set. For this card I decided to do some watercoloring with Gansai Tambi watercolors over white heat embossed images. So as a first step I stamped both images in the citrus trimming stamp set with Versamark ink over some Canson XL watercolor cardstock. I covered the panel with white embossing powder, tapped off the excess, and then I heat set everything with my heat tool. For my watercoloring today, I will be using Gansai Tambi watercolors, and I mix some of the colors in the set of 36 that I have to create my own palette that I am showing you right now. And once I had my colors ready and my cardstock taped to a hardboard, I could go ahead and start painting in my images. I started from the leaves, and for today's painting I will be using the wet on dry technique, which means that I will come with my paintbrush loaded with pigment directly onto the dry paper without wetting it in advance, as I would do if I was using the wet on wet technique. And to create dimension in my images, I will first lay down the pigment in the areas where I think the shadows will be. I will then clean off my brush, wet it slightly with some clean water, and use the paintbrush to drag the pigment out towards the highlight areas, and this way I produce a nice gradient which gives dimension to the images. I will use this technique to paint in all the images that I'll be using on my final card, but to keep this video short, I will share only some parts of the painting. However, this part should be sufficient to show you the techniques I used, so that you can repeat the process if you'd like to. I will now leave you with some music to let you enjoy the rest of the painting, and I will catch you guys when it's time to put the card together. Once I was done painting my images, I cut them apart using my scissors, and I then refined the edges, leaving a small border to mimic the effect of a die-cut image. I then used the rectangle die in the Darling Ribbon and Dotted Frames die set to cut the lower parts of these two panels, and this way I obtained two borders that I will be adhering to my card base. And I wanted to use these borders to frame my sentiment, which I decided to emboss with white embossing powder over some Nina Desert Storm cardstock that I had cut with that same rectangle die, so that I have a continuous dotted pattern over my final card. I used my mini Misty to help me position the sentiment, and then I went ahead. I stamped it with Versamark ink, I coated it with white embossing powder, and then I heat set the embossing powder with my heat gun. And I picked the sentiment that reads, "I am grateful for your friendship." At this point, I could go ahead and start assembling my card. I adhered the panel with the sentiment flat onto my A2 card base, and I used some tape runner to do so. And for some fun dimension, I decided to pop the two borders with the citruses using some fun foam. So I used some tape runner to first adhere the fun foam to the back of my panels, and then to adhere my panels to the card base. And to embellish the card even more, I added the scattering of Studio Katia clear drops in different sizes all over the central portion of my card, and I really love the fresh touch they add to the card. And that's it for today. I really hope you liked this card, and I hope I inspired you to create with the beautiful citrus trimming stamp set. You will find the list of the products I used in the description box down below, as well as on the Studio Katia blog. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the Studio Katia channel for more inspiration from the design team. Thank you all so much for watching, and have a great day!